Good morning, students. Welcome back to the video series on overview of operating system. This is Kiran Shinde, Assistant Professor, IICMR MCA, Pune. So students, till now, we have been discussing about the various hardware concepts related to operating system, such as what are the various components of CPU, what are the various registers of CPU, and what are the states in which CPU keeps itself so that it saves the power. Today, we are going to talk about the memory management aspects of operating system. So let's start the presentation. So as I mentioned, today we will see exactly what you mean by memory management, what are the various functions the operating system has to do in memory management, and what are the key terms which are used in memory management. So memory management is the functionality of OS in which it handles or manages the primary memory and the moves between the main memory and the secondary storage, that is disk. So basically, operating system is essentially handling the data or the instructions which are moving from main memory to hard disk via this memory management unit. It also checks how much memory is to be allocated to the processes as per the requirement of that process. It also decides which process will get memory at what time. All these are the major functions of memory management unit which operating system uses. Now, in the couple of slides, we will first understand the background behind this memory management. The program, first of all, must be brought into memory and placed within the process for it to be run. So that's the main essential need. When that particular program is to be executed, it should be brought into the memory. Main memory and the registers are only storage CPU can access directly. What do you mean by this? Whenever CPU wants to execute certain instruction, the direct access the CPU can make is with main memory and registers. The registers we have already discussed in my last video lecture. Memory unit only sees a stream of addresses, read requests, or the data and the write requests. Register access requires only one CPU clock cycle. So essentially, the register access by CPU is much faster as compared to the access with secondary storage such as hard disk. Main memory can take many cycles, causing a stall. It requires much amount of time in order to access anything from main memory. So cache memory is also used in order to make the faster access for the CPU in order to execute the instruction in the given time. And protection of memory is also required to ensure correct operation. So all these background points are going to be addressed in the video series of this particular topic. Now, let us have a look at certain key terms which are used in memory management of operating system, such as what do you mean by logical address, what do you mean by physical address, what is dynamic loading or dynamic linking, and swapping. So let us try to understand first why these two addresses are there. Basically, logical address is nothing but the virtual address, which is generated by the CPU only for the time the process is wanting to execute. And physical address, it is the address which is actually pointing to the actual memory location in the physical memory, that is your main memory, that is your random access memory. Now, why these two addresses are made? As we know, the logical addresses are created only for the duration of the time the process is wanting to execute. So those are in temporary in nature. But whereas physical addresses are the permanent addresses, which are always pointing to the memory locations which are formed in your physical memory. So whenever process executes, the CPU will generate the number of logical addresses in line with the size of that particular process. The memory management unit will try to map those logical addresses with the actual physical memory available at that moment of time. And then the process will be loaded into main memory and CPU will execute it. So that is the basic need of the logical addresses and physical addresses. But as I said, today we are only discussing the key terms. The usage of these two addresses we are going to discuss in the further video lectures as well. Now, let us try to understand what you mean by dynamic loading or dynamic linking. Dynamic loading essentially is a mechanism by which a computer program can at runtime load a library in memory, retrieve the addresses of the functions and the variables contained in the library, execute those functions or access those variables, and unload the library from memory. Now, very basic and I can say easy example under dynamic loading can be your header files when you include them in your C program. What essentially happens is when the compiler scans your C code and it encounters the functions, the definitions of which are written into the header files, then those functions are dynamically loaded into the main memory. For example, suppose you have included a header file such as hash include stdio.h or hash include conio.h. Now, the stdio.h header file is having the definitions of printf scanf. So whenever the compiler will encounter the printf or scanf statement or the function in your C code, what it will do? It will dynamically try to load the definition of that particular function by locating this header file and of course linking that particular header file with your present code. So that's an example of dynamic loading or linking. Now there are many ways in which your inbuilt libraries are accessed in line with the execution of your current program or current code. Now let us have a look at the concept of swapping. It is very easy to understand. Now here you can see in this particular image, I have mentioned the two, I can say two different blocks. The one entity is representing the memory, having separation between the user space and the operating system. And on other side, you can see it is nothing but your hard disk or the secondary storage. Now, what do you mean by swapping? Whenever any process is wanting to execute with the CPU, that particular process should be brought into the main memory. And once that particular process finishes its execution, it should be brought outside the main memory and it should be kept back into the secondary storage or the hard disk. So this particular process of swapping in the process into memory and swapping out the process outside the memory, keeping back it into the hard disk is called as swapping. For better memory utilization, a process can be swapped out of memory to backing store. Now backing store is nothing but hard disk and it should be brought back again in the memory for remaining execution. Now why it is mentioned for better memory utilization? Because as we know, as compared to hard disk, we have limited size of memory, main memory. So how much size we are having with main memory, that particular size or that particular memory should be efficiently utilized by all the processes which are wanting to execute with the CPU. And that is why for better memory utilization, at that moment of time, whatever process is wanting to execute will be brought into memory. And once it executes its execution, it will be again kept back into the secondary storage, that is hard disk. So this whole process is called as swapping. Swapped out process can be swapped in either on same space or in different. It depends upon the binding time. Now, what do you mean by this? There are two ways the processes can be kept into the memory, static binding or dynamic binding. Static binding says the process should be brought on, into the same memory location where it was kept previously. But in case of dynamic binding, it can be kept at any other location, whatever location is available at that moment of time. So these are the two ways, static binding and dynamic binding. So in this particular slide, I have also mentioned a formula you can see that is nothing but the swap time. So total swap time is equal to 2 into average latency time. Latency is nothing but the response time plus total words of resident memory for a program. How many words are actually occupied by that particular process, okay, divided by the transfer rate, the number of times that particular process is getting transferred. So this particular whole formula is used in order to find out the total swap time required. Okay? It is very important to be remembered if it is asked in any kind of competitive exams. So essentially these were the points in line with the swapping concept. I hope you understood the key terms we discussed in this video lecture in line with memory management. Stay tuned and thank you for watching.